October 25th, 2018. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 166 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Now, Mike, in our relationship, we each have certain responsibilities.
All right.
So, for example, I put together the show notes and edit the show. And then you provide good trips with your 7-star status and, your high roller, stuff like that, right?
Right.
I take care of some of the finances, like paying for our bandwidth, stuff like that. You provide the vehicle when we go up to... We each have our own responsibilities in this relationship, right?
All right.
And one of your responsibilities, because you know more about it, is to pick the winning sports wagers for us.
I wondered where this was going.
I've got a question for you then regarding that. What the hell?
I suck.
Jeez.
I don't know. Well, not last weekend, but the weekend before, I was perfect in college football.
Yeah, you were.
I was perfect.
Problem was...
Perfect. Didn't miss one.
Problem was, there's a miscommunication between us.
Yeah.
And I ended up going with the point spread instead of the money line, so two of the bets actually did not win.
Right. But this last week was terrible.
Oh, my gosh.
I picked all the winners. They didn't cover.
Right, yes.
And that's the hard thing about sports betting, picking
Sure,
winners.
I mean, that's why
cover.
they have it, yeah. And a lot of times the money line, if you're going to bet the favorite, it's just so outrageous.
Yeah, right.
It's
right.
You don't want minus 600, minus 800.
You don't want to bet that much money to... Yeah. Or if there even is a money line, some of those games in college
especially
football,
with college,
yeah. There's no money line because, for sure so-and-so is going to win.
Yeah.
Just are they going to win
Ohio State is going to beat Purdue, right?
Right. Are they going to win by 29?
Yeah, that's the issue. Well, you got fed up and you said, I'm not betting anymore. You can make your bets if you like.
I was so mad at myself.
So I started making some bets, researching. And again, you follow sports more than I do, so I was actually going on elite research. So I finally got fed up when I went 0 for 5 the other night. Oh my gosh.
I'll tell you what, research and, and I watch a lot of games and read a lot, and it doesn't help. You're better off going with your gut instinct.
Just flip a coin.
Go with your gut. Just like, okay, yeah, it's, game 2, the Dodgers should win, right? They're winning right now, right?
No, sorry, no. We didn't bet on the World Series, thank goodness.
No, we did. We have not bet on the World Series, and here's why: because we like to watch it.
Yeah, I was, as we've been betting more sports, and in the past we always said, we don't like betting on sports because then it kind of ruins the game for us. I think that's still true.
Oh, very true.
We actually enjoy betting on sports that we don't really care about, games that maybe we've got some information on or you're following, but ultimately you don't really care how it turns out.
No, I don't really care who wins. Yeah, which is weird that we're not betting on this World Series because this is one. Even though I love watching the World Series, I don't really care how this ends.
I think you actually said you were glad the Dodgers and the Red Sox went, right?
Yes, I am. I am so happy because if the Dodgers lose this World Series, it'll be 2 in a row, and I'll be so happy.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And if the Red Sox lose, I'll be so happy. I mean, they could
both... Not a big fan.
No, they could both lose. I mean, for me, Game 7... Extra innings, and just never ends. Just never ends. They can't determine a winner because, they're like completely out of players, right?
Yeah, and there's an injury and there's nothing they can do.
Yeah,
the game is called.
Yeah, there's just one team only has 8 players. Oh, I'd love that.
All right, well, let's see if we can do better than against. We're taking a little bit of a break, but this college football weekend, we'll see if we can do some more.
Yeah.
All right.
Will Notre Dame cover? That's all I want to know. Has anyone out there called me before Saturday? Okay. Will Notre Dame cover?
All right.
They're playing Navy here in San Diego.
Oh, that's right. Now, why is that?
Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows? It's so because this isn't where the Naval Academy is.
Well, no, but there's a big Navy presence here.
Navy presence here.
That must be
so
it.
It's an away game for both teams. I don't get that.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like a Chargers game.
Yeah, kind of like Charger game.
It's a away game.
Hey, the Chargers are 5-2.
Yeah, I know.
5-2. They're the best team. They have the best record of any team that's never played a home game.
You got that right. Yeah. Even this last one, they were the home team, right? In London.
They were the home team in London.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway, we'll let everybody know how that goes, our sports betting this weekend. And, the Breeders' Cup. It's not this weekend, but it's the following weekend.
Right.
Right. So we'll definitely put our excellent picks up.
Yeah, see, now
on
horse
Twitter.
racing is good because, it's not like we just love some horse. And if they don't win, we're just like super disappointed. Like, oh God, I just my favorite horse
the
of all
next day
time.
at work, you're all depressed.
Yeah.
Why does this always happen to bet everything on me?
Yeah, why couldn't bet everything on me? Just pulled it out.
All right. Well, we got an email from friend of the show, Miken. She said, I was recently in Monte Carlo in the family-owned country of Monaco. Thought it was interesting that a plaque on the family residence stated the family acquired the country through trickery in 1297.
Trickery.
Yeah, trickery.
Yeah,
I think they like dressed up in costumes and stuff and tricked them.
Just tricked them like Trojan horse type tricking.
Oh, I guess these are the owners of the country, and then handed over the keys. She goes on to say, but the question is, given the uniqueness of this place, is there any type of gambling or rules/limits of gambling that only exist in Monte Carlo? And you and I were talking about this. Neither one of us has ever been. I think you said your brother has been.
My brother has been there.
So it's certainly different. And we'll talk about that in a second, but I can't think of anything that's unique to Monte Carlo casinos, like a game that's only offered there. Or
right. I've never heard of anything.
Yeah.
They have very high limits.
They do, but there are actually 4 casinos in Monte Carlo.
Right.
And so you can go to some lower limit places. The main casino, the one that everybody's familiar with and is always in movies, like James Bond movies and things like that, is the Casino Monte Carlo. And that's the one that's fancier. There's a dress code. Right. You have to pay to get in.
But see, that's not unique. There's a lot of places in the world that have dress codes. China, you have to pay to get in, right?
Yeah. Well, it's certainly depending on your nationality, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
locals probably have to pay more there, I would imagine, than tourists, like some countries.
That could be, but I don't know. In Monaco, it's sort of a unique area there, right?
I wonder what they do with the money that people pay to get in.
I mean,
does that just go to the casino, or is it some, it should go into like some kitty, and then, a certain day of the year, somebody wins.
There's a raffle.
Yeah, somebody gets it or something. Right?
They come outside. Everybody's lined up outside.
Right. And then you wouldn't mind paying it, right? You just like, I got to come back to Monaco in, September because...
But, the casino, it is different. It's not like going to an American casino. And they don't have as many slot machines, for example. Certainly in Casino Monte Carlo. A lot of table games, a lot of roulette, of course.
Right.
Some blackjack, Punto Banco, which is kind of like Baccarat. There is a casino close to Casino Monte Carlo called Sun Casino that I was reading is the most American of the casinos. They even have craps there.
Now, what makes it the most American?
Well, because they've got American games like craps, Ultimate Texas Hold'em.
Oh, really?
Slots.
Okay.
Yeah, so different games.
Right. So
that
they
you
have
might
a lot
find.
of slot machines?
Yeah, yes.
That'd be the place for us.
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
And my understanding is there's no fee there.
Oh.
There is a dress code, I think, after a certain hour, but no fee to get in.
That dress code thing's rough.
I know, it's rough. The thing, the dress code at Casino Monte Carlo, no shorts.
Right.
I mean, we always go to the casino in shorts.
Right.
No sports shoes. We always go to the casino in shorts. So,
probably no superhero T-shirts.
Maybe not. Maybe a superhero tux.
Yeah.
If there was maybe a tie.
A tie with the Hulk on it.
Yeah,
the Hulk is who you'd have on a tie.
But again, we've never been. If anybody knows, honestly, to answer Miken's question, if there is something unique that you can't do anywhere else as far as gambling goes in Monte Carlo, let us know. But I don't know.
I bet there is something. Something weird. Maybe not gambling related.
It could be that we're not. That we just don't know since we've never been. Yeah, we need to get your brother on the show. Let's talk to him.
Yeah,
because he's been to, not just there, but a lot. He travels so much for his job.
All
he goes
over
to a lot
the
of different
world.
places. Yeah. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, we got a lot of phone calls, so let's go to our voicemail hotline segment. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Ryan.
Hey, guys, it's Ryan from Las Vegas. Just wanted to tell you guys about a little experience I had up here. I had a couple friends come here from out of state, and they wanted to learn how to shoot craps, so I gave them the rundown on how to play in the hotel room, and we went downtown. We were on Fremont Street, and we were looking around, and I wanted to find them a $5 table to learn, so we were looking everywhere was actually $10 because it was the weekend, and we ended up walking over to the California, which is off Fremont a little bit, so it's really a less busy casino. So we went over there, and there's two tables, and one of the $5 tables had just two guys standing on it, so we went over there. And when it got to our turn to roll, it was my friend's turn. He had never shot craps before, so he picks up the dice, and everyone's got their money on the pass line. He picks up the dice, and he throws it off the table, naturally. You know, it's his first roll. That's all right. So I give him the dice back. Next one, he throws it off the table again. And then third one, he rolls a 3 on his very first roll, so everybody loses their money on the pass line. And the two gentlemen that were down on the other end of the table pick up their money out of the rack, and they start walking away. And they walk past us, and the guy says, "If you don't know how to roll, don't come to a craps table." And they go to the other table, and the guy on the stick says, "That's not true." He goes, "Hey, you know, everybody's here to have fun. This is a $5 table. If he wants to be so serious about it, he can go play at a higher table. You just do you and have fun." Well, after that comment by the stick guy, my friend proceeds to roll for 50 minutes.
Wow.
So we're all cheering and jumping, and naturally everyone from the other table, you know, coming over, jumping in the middle of his roll because they're trying to get money. And the thing that made me laugh was there's about 5 of us on each side at this point, and those two guys end up coming back over trying to get in on the roll, and they're trying to reach in over people, and the stick guy just kept saying, "Sorry, table's full, no bet," and wouldn't let them get any bets in, and those two are just cussing, and I turned around and said, "Man, this guy's having one heck of a roll," and they just laughed. I never saw them again after that. So I just thought it was funny. I mean, tables, they don't know how to shoot. You never know. They could go on an hour roll. Who knows? Hope you guys are doing well. All right. See you later.
See, that's
the people, they get so upset. What I love about that story, especially though, is that his friend rolled it off the table twice, starting right. He's never rolled before. That makes sense. No, it was rolling the 3 that sent those guys over the edge.
Because that's never happened.
Right. Apparently, they've never rolled a 3 before.
Yeah, or on the come out, a 3 on the come out. Oh my God! See, now I win $150 on that roll.
Well, okay,
I'm happy about the 3 on the come out.
But honestly, walking by, don't come up to a craps table unless you know how to roll. Oh my gosh, what is it with people? These are the kind of people that, do they ever enjoy themselves at a craps table?
No.
So good karma for them.
Yeah.
That was a good story.
Why would somebody say something like it? Doesn't even make sense, really.
No. Okay, so you're whatever. You're superstitious, or you're thinking, oh, I got a bad vibe about this, which is stupid anyway. But to actually say something, what do you gain from saying something?
Nothing
to
at
this
all.
poor guy who's never played before.
Nothing at all. You make him feel bad, and you make yourself feel, I guess, good,
superior.
Some people feel superior.
I know how to play this game.
Yeah, it's like when you walk out of a theater and you walk up to somebody in line and say, "You shouldn't be here. You know nothing about movies."
That's right. And then 50 minutes later, you're cashing out for thousands of dollars.
Right.
All right. Good story, Ryan. All right. Let's hear from Marty.
Hey guys, Marty from Northern California. Hey, just wanted to say I just got done listening to The Better Life and Mark's interview there. Great interview, Mark, on the tracking of your play. I love it. I do something very similar. One of the things that I started doing is, in order to, and this has gone into a discussion that's been on your show here a bunch of times, is tracking your play and also tracking kind of what total rewards you're getting. So one of the things I started doing is, when I leave the table, I ask the floorman, how much time did I have on the table, and what did you have my average bet at? And then at the end of a Vegas trip, I can go back and say, okay, they have me in at this amount of time, this much average bet, and you can compute then about what your comp should be, or about what your total rewards point should be, based on a percentage. And again, it craps it to about 1%. So something I do, and it works out pretty well. I think I've got it down now where most of the casinos in Vegas are tracking it very similar, and occasionally you'll have one that's kind of an outlier that's using a different tracking system. Like in the case of the Caesars group, Planet Hollywood is completely different because they're actually using pace tracking, meaning that every time there's another roll, they hit a little button just to the left of the stick man, and so they're actually able to track how many rolls per hour. And that gets forgotten quite a few times, so your total rewards points earned on the tables at Planet Hollywood are always less than it is at other places. But anyway, love the show, guys. By the way, I can't wait to hear the story of you guys both hitting 5-way fire bets. I've been waiting ever since I saw that on Twitter last week, so can't wait to hear it on this week's show. Have a good one, guys. Love the show.
All right. Thanks, Marty. Yeah, and of course, we talked about that on the last episode, hitting those 2 fire bets.
Right.
We do keep track of our play, and we do keep track of total rewards points and things like that. This is sort of related to what Marty was talking about. You've kind of got an issue right now,
right?
Where you went a few weeks ago. I wasn't with you. It was like a Tuesday night.
Right. I went just to get some free play, ended up playing a little bit. And I noticed when I went in, slide your card. At the kiosk, they had a thing, slide your card. So I slid it. It said, you've qualified for a 15 times multiplier.
Okay.
So then when the next day, when we got our points, sometimes that doesn't kick in right away.
Right, it doesn't. Yeah, so you wait like a couple of days, something like that.
Yeah, so I had earned it
was a lot. You'd earned like 8,000 tier credits, a significant amount.
Right.
And so, that works out to about $80 without the multiplier.
Right. And so it should have been $80 times 15, right?
Yep.
Which would have put me over $1,000.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But that's not what.
No, it was closer to like $150.
Yeah.
And you haven't had a chance to talk to them
yet.
No,
I definitely have to go in and look into that.
Yeah, and I mean, we wouldn't have known if we hadn't kept track.
Right.
You would have just seen, that's my reward. Because especially, I know you a lot of times will go up there and go to the gift shop and buy stuff for your kids or your folks or whatever, or go for a meal, so... if you don't keep track,
I spend a lot in the gift shop, so I really need to look in that. Yeah. I'm kind of laughing as Marty's talking about this because you have a great tracking story.
But yeah, I knew this was going to come up.
You have a great.
I didn't even think this was all that funny a story, but you were just cracking up.
I laughed for hours about this.
All right, so when I was on the Better Life, I was talking about how I keep track of everything. And I separate it from our family money because money that's in my pocket, I consider that my gambling stash. Okay. But of course, when we're out somewhere, maybe I have to pay for something, and I keep track of that, to make sure I get reimbursed from the family, or vice versa.
Reimbursed from your family.
Well, hey, if I bought dinner for everybody, that shouldn't come out of my gambling stash. So, of course, whenever we go to the casino, the next morning I go through all the finances. I've got a spreadsheet, and I figure it out. And every once in a while, it's like, oh, I'm $5 short. I'm $10 short, and I have to go back in my mind. It's like, oh, that's right, I forgot. I, got a snack at work, or I forgot I did, or something like that, or oh, that's right, one of the kids needed something. I forgot, right? Well, this last week I went through everything, and I was $5 over. I had $5 more.
$5 too much,
right?
So you ripped somebody off, is what it is.
I'm trying to think. Did Mike slip me a $5 to play a trick on me? I think that doesn't really seem like something he'd do, but because he knows how meticulous I am about the money.
If I wasn't so lazy, I would do that because I'd love to see you just get so frustrated over having $5 too much.
And I still haven't figured it out. And the thing is, I'm telling you this story, and I was not ready for the reaction. You just cracked it. You're still laughing about it.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I know it bugs you to death.
It bugs me a little, but I mean, I'm thinking, you're
gonna 30 years from now, I don't know where that $5 came from.
I'm ultimately just going to take a $5 bill and throw it in the trash so that everything works out. My ledger's correct. God, you know what this reminds us of, and we were talking about this years ago at Binion's when they had $1 craps. It was $1 craps, 100 times odds. They were telling us a story about a regular there who was a very low roller. $1 pass line bets, $1 come bets. And he would constantly be counting his chips. Right. And they were mostly $1 chips.
Yeah.
But, in between rolls, he was obsessive about it. When he'd check. Right. And then he'd go to the bathroom and, would watch my chips. And he'd come back and he'd count them again to make sure they were right.
Make sure they were all there.
Well, one time when he left to go to the bathroom, the boxman said, yeah, put an extra $1 in his rack. Not take one away, but put another one in there, right? And so the guy comes back and he's counting. It's like he's starting to panic, right? He's like, "What's going on? I have more money here than I expected."
See, that's going to kill somebody with OCD. He's going to be like, "Oh my god, did I count wrong?"
Oh, but I
know I counted it 10 times. Did I count wrong?
I thought that was such a great prank because you're not taking money from. Well, he would have gone ballistic if he'd been $1 short.
If he'd been $1 short, he would assume somebody robbed him, right? I just like the fact that when something odd happens and you can't explain it, and it's just, I'll tell you what, this goes back. One of the funniest things, now this isn't gambling related, but I laugh at this to myself.
I think I know what this is going to be, but you go ahead.
Okay, see if this is what you think. we had this friend who we worked with, and he would read his Bible on his breaks.
Oh, that's right. I think you may have told this story on the show before. It's possible you have, yeah.
But it was so funny because he did. And this other friend of ours one time wrote a little note, and it said, what did it say? Something like,
best wishes, God.
And he just put it in his Bible, just randomly put it in there. And, weeks went by, and we had all forgotten about it. And then Dave, the guy who read the Bible on his break, he just one day just opens up and he's reading and turns the page and there's this note, best wishes, God. And he just walks out and he knows we did it, but we did it like months ago, right? And he's just like,
yeah, it's a good prank. Nobody gets hurt. Well, I don't think he got hurt.
No.
Well, suddenly luckily he didn't believe it.
No, I think he knew it was us, but it's a good thought, right?
It was our friend Mike James.
Mike James who did that. Right, yeah.
So.
I laugh about that every once in a while. And when you find something unexpected,
right.
That's the best part of life. You found you $5 too much.
Yep.
Me, it's usually, French fries in the bottom of my to-go bag.
Yeah, how'd that go tonight? Did you get
terrible tonight.
Really? What happened?
Well, I ate all my food and I started rummaging through the bag looking for the 2 fries that are supposed to drop at the bottom. None. Wow. Not one.
That is rough.
So the guy put the fries in there without spilling any. I picked them up without spilling any.
You both were very careful.
Oh, it's very disheartening.
All right, maybe we should get back to the topic of the show, which is gambling. Let's move on to our next call.
Hey, gentlemen. This is Glenn. I'm calling you from Los Angeles, California. I enjoy your podcast and look forward to it. I was recently at the Dania Beach Casino in South Florida. You probably visited over time. It's a large casino in a very populated area. And I wanted to ask you 2 things about what I saw at this casino. First thing is, they have no live blackjack dealers. All of the blackjack games are dealt by an electronic machine that features an attractive woman dealing out the cards. I'm sure this is well known to many players. Now, while I was looking for a seat, it occurred to me how vivid and imaginative the dealer looked on the screen. What was sad about the situation, however, was that while the room was full with people sitting in every chair at 3 or 4 of these machines, it was so deathly quiet. No cheering, no ballyhooing when someone hit a big hand. It was sadly quiet, and I wanted to express how sad it is that the live games with a live dealer have given way to that kind of setup, at least in this casino. But here is my question. Later on in the evening, the table emptied. I sat down by myself, and I'm telling you, as sure as I'm talking to you now on the phone, that lady on the screen was looking directly at me and was speaking to me. And maybe this was a matter of fantasy, maybe hopeful thinking, but I'll be darned if her eyes didn't seem to be gazing in my direction and really aware that I was the only player there. So I'm just wondering, given your expertise, if this makes any sense at all, and if you've heard similar stories or even experienced this situation yourselves. The second question relating to this casino is that they feature gambling on a sport called Alai. I imagine you've come across this sport before. It was the first time I'd seen it in action. I don't know if it's worth your time explaining it to the rest of your listeners, but I was fascinated by it, and while I didn't bet it, it took me a full hour or so to really understand how it works and how people are betting it. It seems to me that this kind of sport, with its accessibility to players, is open to abuse. I'm just wondering if you have any familiarity with betting on this sport and if such problems are known about. Thank you very much. I enjoy listening.
To his first question, I'll answer that real quickly.
Yeah.
It's like the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, where those 3 headstones, but it's like guys' heads. And as you go by them, their eyes follow you.
It's not just the eyes; their whole head turns.
It looks like their whole head turns and follows you. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Okay,
what I want to know about those realistic women blackjack dealers or roulette dealers or whatever.
Yeah.
Why is it always a woman?
Oh,
now
well,
I'm not against that.
No, I think you know why.
I know
right?
why. But you'd think seriously they'd, like change it up, right? Here's my relief, and it's just, some goofy looking guy.
It's Wallace Shawn.
Yes,
well, hello.
Suckers.
I don't know this for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if these machines honestly are programmed so that when there is only one player, the video does focus just on that one player.
Could
so
be.
I wouldn't be
that would be easy
yeah.
enough to do.
I think
right?
so. Yes.
Yeah.
So that probably
they
is the
still
case.
should have the headstones like at Haunted Mansion. That'd be great.
All right, let's talk about Alai. First, let's spell it because it doesn't spell like it sounds. It's actually two words. High, Jai, and Alai. 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 Yeah, right. So the J sounds like an H sound. Right. Years ago, we went down to Tijuana to watch Alai, right?
Yeah,
I went at least once. You may have gone more times than I did.
I went several times. Yeah, we go down and bet on it and watch the games. It's fun to watch.
It is, yeah. Well, let's talk about the game itself. I guess the game that you could compare it to the most would be like racquetball, at least as far as the physics go.
Typical.
The differences are the court is much bigger. Much longer.
Yeah.
It's a very long court.
Well, it has to be the ball's traveling very fast.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
The ball is very hard compared to a racquetball.
Right.
It's a little smaller than a baseball, and it's very hard. And instead of hitting it with a racket, the players actually catch the ball with these big scoops. You remember playing with Nerf balls where they had in the backyard and you'd catch them with those scoops?
Yeah, you still see people at the beach
except they're much bigger. They're these big scoops. And they're attached.
They're huge.
Oh, they're really big, and they're attached to the guy's arm. It's not like a cyborg, but it's like taped onto his arm, so that you can't drop it.
The Borg are very good at highlight.
So the idea is that you catch the ball, and then you have to return it. In other words, send it back to the wall in one motion.
Right. So you almost catch it forward and bring your hand back and then throw it forward again.
Yes, right. So
all in one motion.
You can't. The idea is you can't catch it and hold on to it.
Yeah, or take a step.
You have to catch it and then kind of keep your arm moving and like that. And then the point again, it's kind of like racquetball. If the ball bounces twice before you get to it, you lose a point, or if it goes out of bounds, things like that, right?
I think it can take one bounce and that's it.
One bounce, right? And it has to land in a certain spot when you serve, and things like that. Now, the way that the games typically work is you've got 8 teams. Well, it can be 8 teams of 2, or it can be just be 8 individual players.
It's like tennis in that respect, singles and doubles.
And what you do is a kind of a round robin with all these 8 teams. So the first 2 teams go and play, and whoever scores a point, they stay on the court, and then the next team comes in to play them, and the team that lost, they go to the end of the list. Right. And you just keep going like that until a team has scored 7 points, or in some games it's 9 points, but a certain number of points.
A certain number of points. Yeah, I should know what that's called because they do that. My daughter's tennis, they do that.
Oh, okay. Well, it's
that's
like a round
robin. They play
robin.
in tennis.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, so you see who finally gets the most points.
Right. And there are a lot more rules that it's not worth going into, but it's pretty fascinating. You need to watch it.
It's a very fast sport. I like that.
And dangerous.
Yeah,
because the balls get up to like 175 miles an hour.
Right.
And these are hard balls. The players actually have to wear helmets.
Right. You cannot look away. You get hit by a racquetball, that kind of stings a little too.
That's right. You get a welt.
Hit by one of these, you got some problems.
It could kill you.
Yeah.
So the way that you bet on these games is like in horse racing. You bet a team to win, place, or show, depending on how many points they got. Or they have exactas, all these different ways on how the teams finish. So now to Glenn's question, is there room for abuse here? And absolutely there is.
A lot of abuse.
Now I don't know how much actually goes on, especially in Florida. I don't know.
Right.
But these are just people.
Right.
They could throw matches. Right.
Easily.
I mean,
they could just not feel good one night until somebody, hey, don't bet on me tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that good.
Yeah. Right.
I'm having an off night.
Right.
And then the guy doesn't bet on him, picks someone else when maybe they're the best player when they're healthy. Mm-hmm. Things like there's all kinds of abuse.
So it's definitely something to
when
to
we
watch
bet
out
on
for.
Tijuana, we just randomly picked people and hoped to win.
Know.
We had no clue about what was
going
on there.
Yeah. And it's parimutuel, just like horse racing.
Right.
Right. So in other words, the casino casino actually takes a cut, and then the rest of the money is just distributed to the winners.
Right.
So the casino never is risking any money like that. So
I wonder how the players get paid.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it, and it's kind of a dying sport in a lot of ways.
Right.
But it is fascinating to watch because it is so fast.
Yeah,
These
the
courts
seating
are so
is
big.
hard for that. So it's kind of like watching a racquetball match where you might be above the court looking down into it.
Well,
here's
the
clear
thing.
wall. And
It
you're
is.
looking
It's
through it.
This is the weird. This is how it really differs from racquetball. Is it only has 3 walls.
Right.
As you're facing the wall that you hit it to, there is no right hand wall. It's completely open, and that's where the audience sits.
Yeah.
And if it goes outside, of that wall that's not there, then it's out of bounds. And in fact, as a result of that, left-handed players are not allowed. You can only have right-handed players because if you had a left-handed player, it'd be more likely to go, to the right.
Right.
So it's actually a no wall on that side. Now, of course, there might be barriers there to protect the public and that kind of thing. But that's where you watch. You don't have to look down into it like you would a racquetball game. If you were watching a couple of friends play racquetball.
Right. Yeah. Usually stood above it.
Yeah. But if you get a chance, maybe go online and just watch some Alai being played. It's not quite like being there, but you'll get a sense of how fast it is, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I just not that interested in betting on it though.
Ultimately,
we
no.
Down there
It's
and
just
bet, and it was just like, how do you know who do you pick?
Right. Do you follow the sport? Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's a diversion. All right, let's hear from our buddy Robin at Anytime Gambling.
Hey, you guys. This is Robin from Connecticut. I just wanted to let you know that I had my first long roll. I'm very excited. I'm here with cousin Vito, cousin Mikey, Lucas at the Fargo poker thing in Mohegan Sun. And it was a great day, and I played poker for the second time in my life. But the big deal is that I had a 10-minute roll. Yahoo!
Right.
People actually, for the first time, said, "Thank you, shooter." Holy that was great. Well, I mean, holy son of a gun, that was great. Okay, I just wanted to let you know I'm really happy about my craps game so far. Okay, guys. See you later. Bye.
All right. Congratulations,
Yeah.
Robin. There you
Good
go.
job.
You're on your way.
The first of many.
Yeah, first of many.
Yep.
10 minutes, that's good. Hey, if I could roll for 10 minutes every time, it'd be great.
Yeah.
But you got some bigger ones coming in your future, Robin. Yeah.
Wait till you get like a 30-minute, 40-minute roll.
It's exciting. All right, next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. Patrick calling from San Clemente, just north of you. I needed to bring to your attention, since you're both Pai Gow specialists, an interesting Pai Gow game at the Ocean's 11 Casino Card Room in Oceanside, California. I've played the Pai Gow game there probably 7 or 8 times, and what's very, very interesting, it is a no-commission Pai Gow game. And in California, as you know, you must pay $1 to play the hand. You might want to explain to the listeners how it works, where they have these syndicates that bank all the hands. So essentially, when you go in there, you don't put up the $1, the syndicate does, and then when you win the hand, you don't pay the 5% commission. You pay no commission. It's commissionless, free Pai Gow, and I do not see any rules there where obviously the regular rule is you lose on a push, if you will, but none of the other tricky rules to make it a disadvantaged game. What's also interesting, and I've not seen this in any of the other casinos that I've been to around the world, you can actually lay the 5% fee up front and bet that you will lose against the house. The only catch there is if you push, you do not get your 5% back. And I'm wondering if you've talked about that. I've listened to your previous shows, and I don't see it. I have not heard it, and I know that you're both Pai Gow professionals. So I'm wondering if you could look into that and address it and see if there's anything that's blatant that I'm missing, because it seems to me that it's the best Pai Gow game in the world, in that it's no commission with no trickery. Thanks so much, and I appreciate the podcast. Bye-bye.
All right, first, let's talk about how Pai Gow poker works at California card rooms.
All right.
So in California casinos, tribal casinos, it's the Pai Gow that you would see in a typical Las Vegas casino, right? It works that way.
Right.
But in the card rooms in California, these are the rooms that are not on tribal land. They're just poker rooms.
They're grandfathered in under...
Yeah, maybe they've been around for a while, but these are just card rooms. The house is not allowed to bank table games. So what they do in the case of, say, blackjack or Pai Gow poker, they offer the option to bank to players at the table.
Right.
And years ago, we used to do this all the time. We'd go out to Sequan Casino and we'd play Pai Gow, and each player or each spot at the table had a chance to be the banker. And the way that it would work is if you were the banker, you would put up a certain amount of money and you had to pay $2 for the privilege of banking.
Right.
No matter how much money you had out there.
No matter how much you put out, won or lost or anything, it was always just $2.
A $2 fee, basically a tax, a table tax just to play. If you were a player, they charged you $1 for every $100 or part thereof that you wagered.
Right. You wagered $25, it was $1. You wagered 99, it was $1. 100, it was $1. 101, it was $2.
Right, exactly. So what's happening here is the casino doesn't care what the outcome of the game is.
Right.
They're getting this collection every hand. And in fact, the amount that they charge is kind of arbitrary. You know, $2 for the bank and $1 for a player for every 100.
Right.
It really is arbitrary. So the casino can determine, well, how much are we going to tax these people for playing this game?
Right. And basically they probably figure out how much it costs him to have a dealer there.
Yeah.
You know, and supplies, new cards, things like that. And
now, as time went on, it turned out that some people would pool their money together, these so-called syndicates, and actually pay people to sit in the casino and act as banker every time.
Right.
They'd have a ton of money out there.
And some players would like that because they would always get their money covered. So if you made a large bet, let's say you bet $500, but the bank only had $300 in it.
Yeah, right.
You could only win $300
or lose $300
or lose $300 bucks. You could not exceed that amount. However, when they got these syndicates going, they came in with tons of money. So they might have $10,000 in front of them. And then everyone around the table who was betting $100 or $200 got action.
Yes.
Got covered. So a lot of players like that because when they had a good hand, they'd win.
Yes.
Right? Because it was frustrating when you had a good hand and there wasn't enough money left in the bank.
Right.
So that's kind of what fueled the syndicates.
And now when you go to these card rooms now, this is pretty typical. You don't see regular players banking like you did in the old days. It's mostly these syndicates.
Right.
You go to any of the card rooms in California, you'll see one player there, maybe not, you know, looking at his or her phone, not really paying attention. They're just being paid to sit there and be the bank, and they have a huge amount of chips in front of them.
They're probably getting minimum wage to sit there and just,
it could be.
Watch the money.
All right, so getting back to Patrick's question, again, the casino doesn't care about the outcome here. So they can provide a Pai Gow game where, they're only charging the bank, and they're not charging the players anything to play or even anything when they win. Right. It's all just between the player and the banker. And so that's what's happening here.
They're charging the syndicate some money to be there.
Yes. Now
that's how they're making.
I don't know how much they're charging. Again, back when we used to play, it's $2. Maybe it's $5.
It might just be a set fee, like a
maybe
monthly
for
fee. Right?
Well, I don't think it would be a monthly fee. I think it would still have to be per hand.
You think per hand?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, maybe. I wonder if you're the casino and you've got a syndicate here banking. Let's say I'm in the next spot. Can I say, well, they banked this time. Now it's my turn. I want to bank.
Yes, I'm pretty. Yeah, you can't say I'm going to bank every time.
Right.
That will happen. If you want to bank, you do have the option of banking.
But the syndicate can put.
I think they have to make a bet in order to bank on the next hand.
Right.
So they'll put out a minimum bet, just to play against you.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, again, since there's no commission at all, the only advantage that the syndicate, the banker, has is the copy advantage in Pai Gow poker. They're not taking the 5%. When you win, like the casino would. So I imagine it's a pretty small edge. I guess because they have deeper pockets, ultimately they're going to...
and time,
deeper pockets and time, and, it slowly grinds away. So they're not making as much money as a casino would.
Right.
But that's how the casino is able to do it. Again, they're just charging people to sit at a table and play a private Pai Gow poker game.
Right.
So,
we assume they're not making any other money.
Well, okay, yeah. If you really want to get down to it, these syndicates, do they have ties to the casino? Who knows? Who knows what's going on in these situations? I'd be very skeptical.
Well, not too long ago, there was a card room down in South Bay here in San Diego that got busted, right?
Right.
And they were like money laundering.
It was money laundering, yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So through the casino, but also through these syndicates who were banking stuff. So does that affect you as a guy who just walks in and, got $200 going to play some Pai Gow? No, probably not.
Probably
not. Not unless they're manipulating the cards somehow.
Right. And they probably aren't. It wouldn't be worth it to them to do it. And again, they shake the dice to determine who gets the first hand.
Right.
But getting back to Patrick's question, this is probably the best place to play Pai Gow poker if you're just going to be a player,
right?
Because you're not paying any commission. And, the only disadvantage you have is if it's a copy, the banker wins. So hopefully that answers the question. Yeah, I had not heard of this before, but I double checked. Sure enough, they're dealing commission-free Pai Gow, and that's how they get away with it.
Yeah, maybe that'll catch on at Caesar's Entertainment.
I don't know about that. I thought you were going to say some of the other card rooms.
No.
It's not catching on to any other casinos.
I doubt it.
All right, let's hear from Charlie.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Charlie from Idaho. I wanted to give just a quick trip report on a day trip to Wendover. It's the first time I've been there. I wanted to go there just because the closest casino to me right now is in Jackpot, Nevada, and there's a lot to be desired from there. So I was hoping Wendover would have a little bit more quality, and it did. I got to Montego Bay first. Really loved the atmosphere of it. The dealers were nice. Spent a little bit of time there, won a little bit of money at craps, and then moved on to the Nugget. And surprisingly, this was on a Saturday. They didn't even have a craps table going yet. It was about 1 p.m, and they didn't have any tables going. So walked out of there and went to the Rainbow, which was probably the most fun I had. I liked Montego's atmosphere better, but the Rainbow, the dealers were awesome. All the players were really fun. Won a little bit of money, so that helped as well. But yeah, anybody who's looking to maybe find something outside of Vegas that's still in Nevada, maybe not Reno. I know they have junket flights that go there all the time, and it was really fun. I'd recommend it. Just to throw my hat into the ring for the taking odds conversation, I generally do not take odds. And you guys mentioned a lot about like the variance and that kind of thing, and that's a big part of it. But maybe a good analogy that other people might latch on to is, so let's say rolling a 12 and betting on the 12 paid 36-1, 0 house edge. But you're going to lose that bet with much more frequency than you're going to win it, even though there's no house edge. So take from that what you will. But that's kind of why I don't play odds. I'd rather just stick to the pass line without odds a lot of the time. So thank you.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this a lot, but Mike, you and I, we always take odds.
Yes, we do.
Often full times odds. But if you don't take odds, that's fine, because when you do take odds, it increases your variance, and in the long run, it doesn't matter. So we've talked about that enough.
Right.
Yeah, Wendover. We keep hearing great things about Wendover as a gambling destination. It doesn't have the amenities that Las Vegas does or something like that. But if you're just a gambler, it's great if you live in Salt Lake City. It's the closest place to go there to gamble in Nevada. And they have a lot of junkets, and we keep hearing good things about it. So,
all the people in the Northwest there, that's probably the place to go. Yeah, really. Yeah. I mean, unless you want more like Vegas style.
Right. Going over to Reno or
shows or stuff like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Yep. All right. We got a story from Jamie.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Jamie from Nashville. Just wanted to check in with you. I called a long time ago about not taking your wife to Tunica. Yeah, because she's used to the Venetian in Las Vegas, so it's a little bit of a letdown. But anyway, we're back out in Vegas. Just a real quick trip report. Just want to let you know, be the first to apologize to Dr. Mike that I hit a Royal. Yes, sir, I hit the Royal. First one ever. $4,000 takes the sting out of losing about $1,000 today, so that'll help. But having a good time out here. Vegas is just packed. I don't know why. I guess it's convention, but it's really packed. But hey, thanks a lot. I just love your show. Love you guys, your work. We all really appreciate it out here listening to. Thank you. Bye.
There you go. Another listener hits the Royal.
I'm going to be the last person in America to hit a Royal Flush on video poker.
That's true. Even people who don't gamble. That's your goal.
That's my goal. Right. Even people who don't gamble. I never put a dime in a machine. I hit a Royal.
Don't play it too much then, Dr. Mike, if that's your goal. Well, Jamie actually called again with kind of a cautionary tale about hitting these jackpots at machines. So let's listen.
Hi, guys. This is Jamie again from Nashville. Last night I hit that Royal, and I wanted to tell you what happened. Afterwards, I walked away from the machine, and about a half hour later, I remembered that I still had $130 in the machine. So when I got back to the machine, of course it was gone. Somebody printed out the ticket. Well, kudos to New York, New York. I'd never heard this before. But what they did was they reviewed the tapes and they saw that it wasn't me that took the money out. And one of the attendants there came back with $130 for me. So kudos to New York, New York. Even though it was my fault, they did the right thing. Anytime I've won a jackpot before, the attendant has always referenced the machine and said, look, you got some money left on it. Don't forget about it. Or make me play one reel. But anyway, I just thought I'd let you know about that. Thanks very much, guys. See ya.
Like Jamie said, usually the attendant that brings the hand pay will remind you, oh, don't forget, you've got $50
don't
up
just
there
get up
still,
and leave
or
all
spin
excited,
another one.
yeah.
And sometimes they forget because they know that you're so excited about hitting the jackpot.
Right.
That's all you're thinking about. Hey, I won, and then you just leave. So
that probably happens quite often.
A lot, very
That's
much,
great that they gave it back to him.
Good for
though.
them. Yeah.
When he said something happened, I thought for sure he was going to use the word trickery. Because
Really?
it's been used twice on this episode.
That's right. Maybe somebody dressed in some costumes and
some
said,
kind of trickery.
oh, let me put that money in the bank for you, sir. Okay. All right, next call.
Hi, guys. This is Chris from Long Island. First-time caller, long-time listener. Just want to give you a quick trip report. I went to Foxwoods in Connecticut on the 13th. Pulled in for $100 and colored up for $600. So I'll call that a win. Played mostly a conservative strategy, starting off with just a pass line and 2 come bets. Switched it up when I got bored to a 6-8 regression. It was a $10 table. So ended up doing $18 each and then making it look like 12 each once one of them hit. Got to a point one time where a shooter was shooting for felt like 40 minutes, and me and the group that I was in started a shoot forever type chant, and the dealers were in on a bunch of bets on that, so we had them cheering along, chanting the same thing. The roll probably went on about 6 or 7 more throws before ultimately 7 down. But I did get to color up that day, and it was certainly a fun trip. It was celebrating my birthday. Thanks a lot, guys. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, good job, Chris. Yeah. We've kind of talked about this before, a regression system where you put a certain amount of money out there, and then when one of the number hits, you actually reduce your bet.
Right.
It's a way to kind of guarantee you'll be a winner for a certain shooter. It's the opposite of pressing the bet. Right. And a lot of people enjoy playing that way. It's not a bad way to go. Yeah, you last a little bit longer sometimes.
Yeah, well, there's that one guy out at RingCon that
you've talked about it a lot of times.
Yeah.
You've tried to do it yourself, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, when you have that real short roll, like an immediate 7 out, then it kills you, and it's hard to recover from that. But
right.
yeah.
And sometimes it's a little annoying when, you hit it once, you go down, and then the guy rolls 4 6s in a row.
Yeah, sure.
And you're like, oh my God, I should have just stayed there.
Yeah. That's usually not the case.
That's usually not the case. Yeah. It's usually the quick out that pisses you off. Yep. But I think one thing that does bring up is that you need to be consistent with your personality on how you play.
Oh, that's a huge, I'm glad you brought that up because yes, you want to make sure your personality can handle that.
Your personality handles that, and and that you do it all the time. So when it goes poorly, you're like, well, that's what I do. That's just what I do.
It's not that being consistent is going to help you win more or lose less. It's just a psychological, it helps you psychologically.
Right, psychologically that's what you do.
Yes,
if you switch around, if you one night you do that, next night you do something else, and you do something else, then you're like always second guessing yourself.
Yeah, and eventually you're going to hit one of those runs where you're making the wrong decision every time. Yeah, it's going to happen.
You feel terrible.
Yeah. All right, next up is Tony.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Tony from Michigan, calling in with a trip report. Love the show. Went out to our local casino last weekend, Soaring Eagle, $5 craps on a Saturday night. You got to love that. I played for probably an hour and a half, $200 buy-in. Had just a nice time. Boy, we had lots of good rolls, and we had this lady that kept throwing, and she couldn't quite reach that back wall no matter how hard she tried. And the boxman, she was really good about it and didn't give her a hard time, and she knew she was trying, so that part was cool. She kept rolling the yo, and so I actually hopped the yo for the first time. I hit it. That was it. Just one time, and really enjoyed that. Took my winnings and ran away from there. Went over and played a little Mississippi stud. Got dealt a pair of 10s. Tripled up and ended up with a full house. So it was a great night at the casino. Gotta love that $5 crafts on a Saturday night. Anyways, guys, love the show. and keep doing what you're doing. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to get trip reports from casinos that we haven't before.
Right.
I think this is the first one we've gotten from Soaring Eagle.
I do not remember one before.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Soaring Eagle.
So, yeah, that's
I like
good.
that name.
I know, that is a good name.
Now,
isn't
for
it?
an
It's
Indian
not-
casino,
yeah.
Soaring Eagle. See, that makes sense.
Yeah, but you're not going to be at a craps table and, you hit a hard 8 and you're not going to yell out, Soaring Eagle!
Oh, well, you never know about that.
Okay, do that this weekend, and then I'll make a sound like an eagle. It'll probably sound more like a crow, but I'll do it.
One of those.
The Eagle machines.
Eagle machines. Yeah!
All right, I'll
yeah!
I'll record.
Yeah! It's like the most annoying sound
It
ever.
just keeps going. All right, you want to hear a good story from the El Cortez?
I've been waiting for an El Cortez story.
All right, here it comes.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Trucker Jamie from New Jersey. I'm just calling in with an interesting story from a recent trip to Las Vegas. I was staying at the El Cortez for Vince and spent most of my time there gambling, played some craps. They have a really great bubble craps machine that's dollar minimums with 5 times odds. The experience I had with the gamblers at El Cortez, however, was very different. The best story I have is I was there late night on Friday, Saturday morning, and I see the gentleman next to me who had been sleeping there, woke up, had some friends come by, give him some money to put in the machine, along with some of the 10 and 15 cent vouchers that he had collected from around the casino. He started betting, and the waitress came around. He ordered a drink, and I saw him place 2 large family-sized tins of tuna onto her plate. And I had took it to mean that he had been deciding to tip her in tuna cans. Now, the story would be strange enough, but it gets weirder. So she comes back around with his White Russian with whipped cream and a cherry on top, and he begins asking her about his sandwich. He had not intended to tip her the tuna cans, but rather had expected her to go back to the waitress area of the bar or the restaurant, collect some bread, collect some mayonnaise, and make him a tuna sandwich with the cans of tuna. He then began to loudly complain about El Cortez not having any bread and how unreasonable it was that he could not get a sandwich. I told this story to a few friends, and I definitely think it's the strangest thing I've ever experienced in a casino as far as another patron goes. So the El Cortez has great rules. It's a good time, good drinks, but you got to be a little careful about the people you gamble with. Thanks a lot, guys.
If you saw this on Saturday Night Live, it was like a sketch, right?
Right.
You'd think, oh, that was pretty funny, but of course that never happens.
Right. I would love to have been there to seen that. That's the best story ever.
The complaining. That's what makes it. This is ridiculous.
No bread. I want 2 slices of white toast, some fried chicken, and a Diet Coke.
Oh, that's great. We got to go to the El Cortez more often.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
We should just go to the El Cortez with some cans of tuna.
We should see what happens.
Just see what happens.
We've heard that.
on there.
That's right. You wink at the cocktail waitress. You know what you're going to do with that, right?
You know, what is she thinking?
Yeah, I know. We may not be getting the whole story.
Yeah,
when she first got the tuna, it's,
there's
okay,
got to be
thank you.
something more. I mean, has she gotten tuna as a tip
That's
before?
right. I hope she was nonplussed. Just yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Enjoy
There's
your
money.
drink.
There's no money here, but I got some tuna for you.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah.
All right, next call.
Morning, Dr. Mike. This is Cody from Alabama. I wanted to call in and talk a little bit about statistics and probability related to table games as well as sports gambling and see if there was maybe a correlation in the numbers. But gamblers a lot of times see a game like roulette where numbers are posted from previous spins on the wheel, and there may be 10 numbers posted and there's been 7 red, so sometimes the gambler will think, well, there's got to be a higher probability the next spin's going to be red. Actually, we know that each spin is independent of its own, and then kind of this probability and statistics stay the same. And then, in craps, we think, well, this guy's rolled 4 6s on this roll, so I'm going to bet on a hard 6 to come out. And really, each roll of the dice is independent of itself. So my question was, when it comes to sports, we see a lot of numbers thrown out when the lines come out. Maybe a team is, this team is 1-9 in their last 10 games against the spread, dating back to last year. You see a stat that says this team has won, they're 12-2 in their last 14 games as an underdog. So you think sometimes that sports books throw these statistics out there maybe to get gamblers to bite on them, when in reality, each game is kind of independent of itself. I realize that sports is a little bit different than a table game because, there are two teams playing, and it's, some teams do have certain tendencies and some teams are, more talented than others and things like that. But I think sometimes they use previous year's results when in fact each year and each team is completely different. So anyway, I want to get your thoughts on, I know Dr. Mike likes to throw out a few gambling picks during the week, but just see what you guys thought about it. Anyway, enjoy the show. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Cody. First off, I would say that sports is not a little different from table games. It's quite a bit different.
A lot different,
right?
yeah.
And that games are not independent of each other, even from season to season. Sure, between seasons, a lot of things change, but a lot of things don't. Maybe a team has the same quarterback, same coaches, all sorts of things.
Good defense, no offense, things like that.
So you can glean some information from that. Now, sports books, yes, they're trying to balance the betting. We've always talked about how, they're trying to make a line so that they get money coming in on both sides.
Right.
But really what they're trying to do, they're not trying to fool gamblers.
No.
They're trying to set a line that will prevent advantage players from taking advantage of a bad line.
Right.
So that's what they're most concerned about.
Yeah, they're most concerned about that the line is somewhat adequate, because if it's in any way lopsided one way, somebody could really take advantage.
The advantage players will come in and really, bet it big,
right.
And then the casino has to move the line, and by then it's too late. All the money's come in on one side, and they really do have a vested interest in what happens in the game. Sports books aren't the one throwing statistics out there. So a sports book doesn't set the line and say, well, we're doing this because they're 12-2 in the last 14.
No.
The guys that are doing that are the sports touts, the guys that are trying to sell you their picks or tell you that they're the experts. They're the ones that are throwing out that kind of information. That kind of thing you do need to watch out for, because maybe they are trying to get some money out of, hey, we know what their record is. We have inside information, or here's some more statistics. So that's
funny.
They
throw out statistics and call it inside information because anybody can get those statistics.
That's true. Yes.
Now, I don't know if you noticed, but this last Sunday, Cincinnati played Kansas City on Sunday night.
Right.
And the network showed a statistic kind of towards the end of the game, after Cincinnati was already getting blown out, that they're 0-9 on Sunday night games.
Okay, right.
Cincinnati has never won a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
Now, before the game, when you're betting, I mean, you're probably going to go with Kansas City anyway. They're a better team. They're at home. They've got a better offense. If you're just betting the money line, of course, Kansas City would be the team to bet on. But does that fact that Cincinnati has never won on Sunday night affect you really?
It shouldn't.
You get a Sunday night game maybe once every couple years.
Yeah,
right?
Some of the bigger teams
might be more, but let's say Cincinnati. Let's say that the first one that they lost was 8 years ago, 9 years ago. A totally different team, different players, different coaches.
And they're not thinking that. And what about the Thursday night games?
Yeah.
What about the Monday night games? Right.
I mean, do the players go in there, God, our franchise has never won on Sunday night. Let's just call this one in, I don't know about stuff like that.
Yeah. But, getting back to Cody's question, really, the sports books, what they're trying to do is set a line that will prevent them from being taken advantage of.
Well, they're only concerned, and we've talked about this many a time, you and I, their only concern is that they want to make money and not get hammered, not lose a lot of money.
They just want to make money no matter what happens in the game. Again, sometimes they have a vested interest because the money just comes in a certain way. But
yeah. But most of the time they don't. Most of the time they could care less who wins.
Yep.
They just want to.
It's like the card rooms here, right? They don't care who wins the pie gow hand. They just want to get their cut.
They just want to get their cut.
Yep. All right. Let's finish up with a message from our buddy Josh.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Josh from North Carolina, and I just wanted to share a story from a recent Las Vegas trip. So my wife and I were in Las Vegas last weekend, and we were staying at Harrah's for the first time and really had a great experience there. We ended up with a comped room in the renovated Valley Tower, and it was really nice. I love how there's a Starbucks right off the elevator, so you can get your fuel in the morning before it spits you out right there in the casino. So you don't have to go too far to get your caffeine fix and your gambling fix. So that was really nice. So anyway, on a Sunday morning, we had a great breakfast over at Paris at Mon Ami Gabi, one of our favorite places. Anyway, then we headed back over to Harrah's, and they had a $5 craps table there on Sunday morning. So I was pretty excited to see that. I bought in for my usual $200, and there were a couple shooters, including myself, who really didn't do a whole lot. Then this fairly young guy bought in right after me. He was standing right next to me, and he bought in for $85. So after I had pretty much immediately sevened out, he got the dice and proceeded to roll for an hour and 15 minutes. Now, Mark, you probably don't remember this, but at VIMF last year, we had a brief conversation about how it would be interesting to compare how long a roll actually lasts versus how long people think it lasted. However, my wife, I had sent her a text right at the beginning of his roll, so I had a timestamp. And then I looked at the clock when he finally sevened out, and it was right at an hour and 15 minutes.
Nice.
So to give you an indication about this roll, this table had the repeater bet, which I was on for $10, $1 on each number. And he was not rolling sevens at all, even on the come-out roll. And he hit so many repeaters that I lost count. But at one point, he rolled 6 eights to pay that repeater. And the dealers asked if I wanted to go back up on it. And I jokingly said, oh, sure, he'll roll 6 more. And sure enough, he did. He rolled 6 more eights, so that paid again, and even a couple more before the roll was finally over. And that's one thing that's fun about the repeater bet that I like, is on a long roll like that, it just seems to keep paying over and over again. The crew at Harrah's was really great. Another memorable moment from that roll was at some point, the shooter came out on an 8, and the stick man, who was this really boisterous and interactive guy, although we were dropping lots of tips, so that probably helped his mood, but he hustled all 10 players on the table to put money out on the hard 8. And I almost never play the hard ways, but I tossed $5 out on it. I was going to join in, and I'd made so much money at that point. Why not? So anyway, the chips were just overflowing on the hard 8 layout, and I think you know where this is going. The very next roll, bang, hard 8, and the table exploded. My wife was on the blackjack table across the casino, and she said they all heard us and commented that things must be going well. But when all was said and done, I cashed out for $2,000, 10 times my initial buy-in, and this was by far my biggest single-session craps win to date. Anyhow, I just wanted to share this story and hope that I can catch up with you in Vegas sometime soon. Last thing, I recently turned one of my coworkers on to craps and your podcast, so now I have someone at work to talk craps with and to recap episodes of your show. So if you don't mind giving Jeff a shout-out, I'm sure it would make his day. Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
All right. Yeah. Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thanks
Glad
for listening.
you could join us.
Hey, I bet if he was at Harrah's early in the morning on Sunday, dealer David was probably on that table.
Yeah.
David's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet and a great dealer, good guy. So I'll have to see when I go in December. I'll ask David if that was, because that's his shift.
Yeah.
I'll ask him. They usually only have one table
in the
if
morning.
It's early.
Like that,
if it was early enough.
Yeah. Well, one thing Josh was talking about the repeater bet. Boy, when you're on a hot roll, those repeaters, if you've got them out there, it seems like every few rolls you're winning one of them.
Right.
If you bet them all, right? And it's just, there's another one. There's another one.
Yeah.
It's
well,
exciting.
That 6s and 8s, 90 to 1.
Oh my gosh. 90 for one. And
I'll tell you what, you hit that $90 next time, Josh, you put $5 back on it.
Oh, that's good. Cause it's coming.
You still made $85, right? Yeah. So put $5 on it and then when it hits, you're really
really doing good. And thanks again to Josh. Josh was the one who set up that private table at Mandalay Bay last year, right after the shooting. And that worked out great for us. So, thanks for doing all that, Josh.
He makes a good point. I would love to keep track of how long a roll actually lasted versus what people think. Because they always look at you, oh, that was a great roll. Was that 20, 25 minutes? I'm thinking, no, like 4. When there's not very many people, it's going fast.
Yes.
And a good roll can be really good, and it can only last like 7-8 minutes.
That's true.
Now, vice versa, we've been on rolls at Harrah's Rincon that seem like they're taking forever because they are.
Because there's so many people at the table, there's so many prop bets.
It's still a good roll, but every roll's taking 2 minutes in between roll. Right. So, when you add it up and you're like, well, that was a 20-minute roll. Well, he only threw the dice 10 times.
Yes.
Right? It was like,
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, recurring donations from Brian Dancer, also from Brian and Sarah, and from Josh that we just heard from there. Also, thanks to Guillermo for his donation. He said, keep up the good work. Don't stop. Go Chargers, the only team where every game is an away game. Guillermo from the OC. Oh, exactly what we were talking about. Yeah.
Well, he's probably going to the games, right?
That's what. But he's got the opposing team logo on every time, all the gear.
Right. Yeah, that'd be great. That's a good thing, Mark. You just hit on something.
What's that?
You be a Charger fan, and you have all the other teams' logo, shirts, and everything, and you go to every Charger game. Right?
Okay, so why is that good? Well, I'm laughing.
We just market that as a thing.
Oh, that's what you do.
We sell people the jerseys and stuff.
I see.
Oh, you have Charger season tickets? Well, here's
what you'll need for this season.
Here's what you'll need for this season, and we set them all set up.
Also, a donation from Lee and Bill. They said, hey, guys, this is a karma donation from Lee and Bill from Indianapolis. We arrive in Vegas October 21st for 3 days. We love the podcast and talking craps. We hope this donation will bring great success in all of our craps play. Thanks for all you do. And they actually sent us an email after their trip was over. It sounded like their craps did not go very well, but they said they had a great time. So that's good. Yeah. Also, a donation from Joe. He said, I was the original Muckleshoot caller, so I feel like I owe this for unleashing a monster. I don't know. I think we owe him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we owe him.
Actually, a karma donation for an upcoming work trip to Portugal, where I'll try out Casino Lisboa. Lisboa.
I'm sure you're not saying that right.
No, it's probably not. But Joe, let us know how that goes. I don't think we've gotten a report from Portugal
we need a report on that. We're getting from all over the world casino reports. I love that.
Also, a donation from our good friend Gina. She says, hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. Karma donation for an upcoming Hardways birthday trip to Las Vegas, October 26th through the 28th. Good. So that's coming up this weekend. So good luck, Gina. Yeah. Also, a donation from Martin. He said, thank you and keep entertaining us. And finally, a donation from Trevor. Mark and Dr. Mike, this donation is for an upcoming Vegas trip the first weekend of November with my little brother, who I got into craps when he turned 21 3 years ago. It's also in honor of my father-in-law, who got me into craps 15 years ago. My father-in-law was diagnosed recently with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and I just hope to get to play with him one more time after he finishes chemotherapy. Thanks, as always, for the podcast. And, that's great, Trevor. So thank you very much.
And I hope that really turns into more than one.
Yes, I do too. And, we've all been touched by cancer. My dad had a scare a few years ago, right?
Terrible.
It really is awful. So we're hoping for the best. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS, or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at Facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting your feedback. All right, I'm tossing it over to you, Dr. Mike.
Well, Mark, what's been going on in the baseball game while we've been doing this podcast?
Oh, that's right. I don't know.
Give me an update.
I don't know. I've had my phone on airplane mode, so I can play all the things. I'll just flip it on. The TV's right over here, so as soon as we get off,
let's find out what happened.
All right.
And if the Dodgers lost this game too, let's bet on the Dodgers to win the series.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because here I was complaining about your sports betting. We're out at the casino the other night, and it's the Dodgers and Milwaukee.
Right. It's
the last game
it's game
in
7,
the series,
right.
And the Dodgers are up 5-1 in like the 7th.
It was the top of the 7th.
Yeah.
Dodgers are up 5-1. So Milwaukee has the 7th, 8th, 9th innings. And I said to Mark, what's the line on the Milwaukee coming back and winning this game? It was like plus 600.
It was plus 1,200.
Plus 1,200. That was it. And I said, put $5 on it.
What? So I did.
We wasted $5.
We did waste $5. It was all on you.
But wouldn't it be great just to win that? It's $5.
I don't know that plus 1,200.
I'm tipping the cocktail waitress $10.
I know. We've talked about it, though. That's different. The sports betting's different from the craps table.
All right. Well, I'm glad. Football season, last weekend, there were fewer missed field goals.
Yeah, it
I'm
wasn't
happy
quite
to
as bad.
report I only saw a couple of really bad ones.
Yeah.
Although the Kansas City guy on that Sunday night game missed a field goal. It was the first one he's missed this season.
That's right. I know. He's guaranteed.
Boom, misses it. It was kind of a long one. It was like 52 yards.
And there was a lot of wind, too. It looked like it was going to go through. And then suddenly
it took
was like,
off
what?
fine and then just kept moving.
Yep.
But anyway, I'm happy about that. I rested easy on Sunday that there were not as many missed field goals. I wasn't as tense. And I don't know why I'm tense because
I know it's so stupid.
I mean, I don't root for every team. And our Chargers are 5-2. I know they're not
our Chargers.
My Chargers.
Yeah, all right.
I'm still a Charger fan.
Fine.
Go Phillip Rivers. Go.
Fine. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Mark, that was wonderful. I had no idea you were so talented. The audience is going to love you.